3x3 court, as Sierra will attest to, you can't hide. You have to be in the play. You have to have the ball in your hands. You have to play defense. You have to dribble. You have to pass. You have to shoot. You actually can't go missing in a game of 3x3. And
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special edition interview with Justin Nelson and Sierra. So thank you both for jumping on today, and we're really excited to get your insights about Tavake Pasifika and the organization as it continues to move forward. So we're just going to jump right in. I'm going to start with you, Justin. If you could just give a little bit of background on yourself for those who may not be already familiar.
Oh, geez, I don't want to bore everyone. It's a long background. Obviously, for those that haven't picked it up, Australian, been in New Zealand for 5 years now. It's gone really quick, and obviously through some quite incredible times for humanity across the world when you take into account, lockdowns and shutdowns and lack of travel and all that sort of thing. But 5 years here now. First 3 years was spent working on the NBL and the fall work for Toihi, and then the last couple of years have been across at Sky Sport, but still heavily involved in the basketball from a broadcasting perspective and looking after the broadcast agreement that we've got with basketball, which has been really exciting the last couple of years. The growth has been quite remarkable. And to have every game of Toihi, NBL, and Rapid League broadcast across the country and across the world is pretty exciting for Kiwi hoops.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for all of the work that you've done up until this point, and then what you continue to do as well in your current role at Sky. It's amazing for basketball, and it's been really fun to follow the evolution of Kiwi hoops, and done massively. So thank you again for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and then so Sierra, over to you.
Thanks, Lyndon. Kia ora, and thanks, Justin. Yep, Sierra. I'm based in the Gold Coast right now in Australia, but my background is I'm a lecturer at Auckland University of Technology in the School of Sport and Recreation. A lot of my work sits in the coaching, athlete wellbeing, athlete development space, sport leadership. Dabble in that a little bit. And in particular with Māori and Pacific. Most of my academic work has been done in the rugby league space, given the high population of Māori and Pacific that play that code. But I'm also one of the directors for Tavake Pasifika, who've been part of the organization for the last couple of years, trying to build up a space for Māori and Pacific within basketball. Basketball was my first love. That's what I played growing up, both socially and competitively. And so, it's nice to be able to get back into the code again. It's been a while. And so I'm excited to see the opportunities that may present itself as we grow Tavake for the purpose that it was built for, to be a bit of a launching pad for our Māori Pacific talent as far as basketball is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you for your mahi too. Helping grow basketball in the Pacific Islands and the Maori areas, because that's phenomenal. And as the game grows, no doubt that among that population is also going to be very popular. And it's been great to see, everything starting to come up, and the more opportunities that they have to flourish. So jumping into that, I'm going to start with you, Justin. So it's likely that those who will be watching this interview will have at least some knowledge that basketball in New Zealand has evolved over the past couple of years. What have been some of the highlights of the New Zealand NBL? And then from your perspective, what have been some of the most exciting things that have come from it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that there has been a lot of change and adaptation and evolvement, a little bit of revolution in there as well. For Kiwi basketball, for men and women, which I think is really important. One of the great things about Toihi is pay parity, the same level of broadcast, the same amount of broadcast, having those same opportunities, I think, has been really important to the growth of the game. If I think back over the last 5 years, I think what we've tried to do as much as possible is bring in competitive balance, to understand that we're an entertainment product, heavily connected to the communities across the country, and to understand that the game is only as strong or only as big as the fan base, and ensuring that the fans have a really big say and a really big opportunity to be involved. When you put all of those things together, you tend to start heading in the right direction. And I think that's what we've seen, but we've still got a long way to go. And I think it's really important that the more that we can collectively move in the same direction together, the more that we're going to achieve. We've quite often seen a lot of sports through growth phases get a little bit fractious, and people are out there, building empires and all that sort of thing. I think that if basketball can move together in the same direction, and that includes players and coaches and fans and communities, administrators, volunteers, if we can do that together, then I think the future is really bright.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said something really important about the fans, and I think that's something that New Zealand does so well, is that the league is structured that both the New Zealand NBL and the Te Uhi Aotearoa League, that they can incorporate fans, before and after, and that's really at the center of everything that they do. And I think that's in opinion, one of my most favorite things about, obviously the talent level is off the charts, but again, it's really keeping the fans at the center of that experience.
It's probably the single most thing that I'm proud of what we've seen in the last 5 years in particular. That's not to say that fans weren't always a part of it, but it's been a real focus of the teams and a real focus of the leagues here to make the fans the centerpiece, to make the fans the most important part. And I think that's having a really positive effect. It's having a positive effect on young people in particular.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it. And been fortunate to experience it with my own eyes here on the ground. But even if you're watching on TV, it's just, you get that essence. And so, Justin, you definitely have expertise in marketing this fan engagement area, as you're the head of commercial and fandom at Sky New Zealand. So what do you think are some of the critical components, to stay on this fan engagement topic for a second, for teams to incorporate into their strategy to keep up with the trajectory that the sport is currently experiencing?
Well, I think the most important thing, Lyndon, is to understand that fans are humans. They're not robots. They're humans. So you need to play to the strengths of what humans want from their leisure time. And sport is a leisure time. It's not a must-do. It's a leisure time activity. And what we know as human beings is we want to belong. So the more that you can create environments, whether it's in games, outside of games, whether it's community visits, whether it's just every day, the way that we're engaging and interacting with people socially, it's about belonging. And if you can nail that, if you can get that right as a sports business, to provide opportunities for your people to belong, to connect, to engage, to feel valued, they're the things that are going to make you a really strong sports business, a really strong sports league, but importantly, one that's important to the people. And that's when you see tribal fandom start to arrive. It's when you become an important part of people's lives. And that's about belonging. So, if I'm to put one thing on the table, make sure your people feel like they belong. Have the importance of belonging. Get that right, and the fandom will grow.
Yes, absolutely. And you make a great point there. It seems like over the past couple of years, we've seen the franchises and the teams gain more fans and kind of seeing that tribalism take effect. So still thinking about the team perspective, what do you reckon are some of the most important characteristics that franchises should possess as they face opportunities and challenges in the way that basketball is changing and how it's being marketed? Is there something in particular with that the New Zealand NBL franchises that are doing well that future teams can pick up on? And then what other challenges, can future franchises learn from?
Yeah, I think our greatest challenge and it's not just in basketball, it's in all sports, to be fair, at all levels of sport. Our great challenge is resourcing. It's hard to have one person or a few people do the work of many. And there's people out there that can do that, but eventually you burn them out. So, if there's one thing that we have to keep focused on and get right, and I don't think that any of us are there quite yet, is we need to ensure that we're resourcing these operations well. And then the second part to that is making sure that we're resourcing them with people who have the right skill sets. There's no use getting a plumber to come around and build your house, or get a plumber to come around and paint your house. We need to make sure that we are identifying good administrators, we're working with them, we're teaching them, we're educating them, and we're empowering them. And if we can get more money and more opportunities into resourcing, and resourcing with the appropriate skill sets, what you'll see is you'll continue to see these sports businesses grow and thrive. So quite often when I'm asked questions like this, we think about players, we think about the on-court stuff and how it's important to get that right to build a sports business. Players come and go. We need to make sure that the fabric of the business, the sustainability of the business is strong. And quite often the thing that gets overlooked is the resourcing and the resourcing with skill sets. We do put a lot of pressure on too few people, and eventually, no matter how good those people are, they end up burning out.
Yes, absolutely. And what you were just describing there about the fabric of the franchise being, the management and the people who are running at the heart of the business, that's the core. And that's what's going to help it succeed. And of course, you want to recruit the best players you can who will buy in and will be able to be a fit with that. But it starts at the top. And that is, something that, is definitely cannot be overlooked. So wonderful. And thank you for sharing that. So Sierra, I'm going to jump over to you. So we've seen that, as we've discussed before, and Justin had made a point of saying that fan engagement is a key to success in sport, especially with New Zealand and the Pacific Islands. So from your perspective, how does the Tavake Pasifika franchise capitalize on that opportunity?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. We're naturally a collective group of people anyway. We buy into that, tribalism, I guess, just naturally, because we all have some sort of kinship or clan or village that we have family links back to. So that resonates with the world that we operate in anyway, and the whole theme of belonging, that probably priority, especially for our Māori Pacific community. But we would hope that Tavake is a team that that communities of all walks of life would be keen to come in and support Tavake. It's about that belonging. It's about being grounded in who you are and where you come from, and being proud of it. That history that you have, and that's what we hope to bring to the table, and that's what we hope to learn from the community. Our fan base, potential fan base, or growing fan base, I should say. That's what we hope our family brings to Tavake too. We want to know who they are and where they come from, and how we can draw upon the experiences of our family that come to support us, that are cheering on our players and the families that they represent too. So I think for Tavake to be able to capitalize it, I mean, once we're what's the word, you see the impact that the Mate Matatonga players have had, the Toa Samoa players have had in the footy space. You see the impact of Stephen Adams at a global level that he's had for New Zealand. Everyone feels like that's our uncle, that's our brother, that's our cousin, right? We all claim them. And that's the beauty of how we operate. Family is family. It doesn't matter what it looks like for Tavake, and that's what we hope to capitalize on. The notion of family goes deeper than the blood that runs through our veins, but we draw upon that history, that rich history and heritage that we do bring to the table, and we hope that our family can add to that fabric or that tapestry that exists within basketball in New Zealand, and then abroad, in terms of our our cousins over in the Pacific Islands, as well as our cousins, Pacific Island cousins that are abroad across the world. So Tavake has big ambitions, but we got to start somewhere, right? And so 3-on-3 provides a good platform for us just to kind of build and, like Justin was saying, utilize and maximize the resources that we do have so that we can be part of that sustainable growth that is the vision for New Zealand basketball at this point.
I think one of the things that Sierra touched on then too was the global aspect of the game. I mean, one of the great things about basketball is it's played in every country in the world, and it's a really culturally diverse sport. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter, who you are, your background. Certainly as you get up into the NBA and so on, height does matter, but it doesn't matter all the time. And I think that's one of the great things about the game. It actually helps connect people from different backgrounds as well. And for me, that's probably one of the most pleasing parts of the sport, the fact that I can go to any other country in the world and I can run into somebody who has had a different upbringing, culturally, may be completely different, might have completely different beliefs, different family situation, different work environment, different living conditions. Yet we can both see a basketball and go and pick it up and share something in common. And I think that's one of the great things about the sport.
Yes, absolutely. And, I think general theme is, basketball is a universal language, no matter where you go or who you talk to. And, it brings you to so many great people and it connects folks around the world, like you both said. And that's, such a unique thing about sport, but especially basketball in particular, because it's played all around the world. So gonna jump back to you, Justin. So with all of those points in mind, and of course, Sierra also with her point saying, that Tavake and the 3x3 is a great launching platform, for what this organization is aiming to accomplish. What is the potential, do you think, of seeing Tavake Pasifika realizing its goal of becoming a proper franchise for people to come and support in the future?
Well, I think the potential's already there, and I think the journey's already started. If I go back to my former role, with the NBL, and even with where I am now and what I'm doing, and seeing the impact of Pasifika, not only in basketball but other sports. I see that every day at Sky Sport. I've been lucky enough to been in and around the journey of Tavake Pasifika over the last few years, and those formative steps into 3x3 and obviously heading back to 3x3 again this year. And it's exciting. I got to be right there on the sidelines and see that first win last year in 3x3, and just the excitement on the faces of the players and the entire organizational group that was down there. It's these little firsts. It's the time when you tick that first box and you move on to the second box. And the one thing that I have confidence in is for the Pasifika community and the Māori community, there's a great passion for basketball. And what we have with Tavake Pasifika is we have a home, and the journey begins. Well, the journey is already underway, and provided that everybody continues to belong and share and communicate and enjoy and educate and develop, I think that you're going to see that journey is going to achieve many more wonderful things in the future. It's great to have a goal. It's great to have an end goal. And I hope the end goal is beyond. It started. 3x3 is a great start. And who knows what the future will hold. Tauihi, NBL, it's hard to say at the moment, but the most important thing is the journey's commenced.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just fizzing thinking about, like you said, both said, the journey's really just begun, and that Tavake's already taken that step with the 3x3, and it's great to see, both the men and the women entered in the tournament and playing. And even just from speaking to some folks around the community, that, people really from the Pacific communities and such, that they really enjoy watching the teams, because, that's a representation for them, and those are role models for them. And so there's already been an impactful step in the journey already. So to both of you, so I'll start with you, Sarah, on this one. What attributes do you think Tavake can bring to the league?
Passion, yeah, I guess. Pride, cultural pride, and I think that connects, strongly with, in terms of fan engagement and building up, pride in your team, pride of your region, pride of the Pacific. We can bring that element of, being really, really, loving who you represent, and the opportunity that you have to represent. No pressure, a whole swag of islands out there, but we know that we bring more than just ourselves to the game. We bring a whole community. We bring those that have gone before us and those that will come after us. And so, seeing them, would love to see more Stephen Adams coming out of New Zealand. Proud Kiwis, but also proud Samoans, Tongans, Fijians. But likewise, we also would love to see more coming from the islands as well. Proud Samoans, born and raised in Samoa, Fijians, Tahitians, Hawaiians. Would love to be able to be that home, as Justin mentioned earlier, for our players to come and be exposed to, a high level of competition, but also allow them to be, that role model that we know they can be, and know that basketball can be a vehicle that can catapult them, to many different avenues, whether it is a professional contract, or you use basketball as a leverage to, become a professional of other sorts. We'd love to see more Polynesian coaches, managers, the resourcing part. We'd love to see more Polynesians filling out the other spots that contribute to a professional sports league, not just on the court. So I think that's what we bring. We bring passion, pride, and a lot of potential to be able to play at a competitive level. But as Justin and you, Lyndon, have also shared, we've got to start somewhere. We've got our vision. We do have an end goal, but we've got to take the steps to get there. And so 3-on-3, really us being able to be part of something that allows our Polynesian players to come and feel at home, but play at a high competitive level. With passion and pride. I think that's something that we can bring just by pure nature of who we are as a people.
Yeah,
I don't think I could add anything to that. I think you've ticked every box that I would sit here and talk to as well. So that's fantastic, Sierra, and I think you've covered every single base there. The one thing I would add to it is it's a global sport, and I'd like to see and bring and learn from and help guide and educate more people from the Pacific region in the media, in broadcasting and commentating and writing and presenting and emceeing and doing all those sorts of things. It's not just about the game, it's about all the other things that a sport can deliver to a community. Yep, we look at coaches and we look at players and we have administrators, but there's actually so many other referees, statisticians. There's a number of ways to be involved with the game. And, I think the key thing for me with an organisation like Tavake Pasifika is there's a real strategic plan behind it. There's quite often you see in sport, teams and organisations can drift from one day to the next, or 1 year to the next, or one season to the next without any strategic plan or vision. What I've really appreciated and enjoyed from day one with the people that I've dealt with around the Tavake Pasifika organisation is there's a real strategic plan here. There's a real vision. And I think for the fans and the community and the players and the families and those people connected to Tavake Pasifika, whether they be here in New Zealand or throughout the Pacific region, is they can have confidence that, we talk about an end goal, we talk about the journey, but there's a real strategic vision here. And for me, that tells you that we are amongst people and family and friends who are serious about what they're doing, and that's a really good sign.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, thanks for that, Justin. You know, one of the things about us is we know that to be successful, we need to build our community. You know, no point in, you know, showing up and popping up. Hello, you know, we got Tavake Pasifika here, professional basketball franchise, and you got no one there to support you. You know, outside of the players and their families. And so we've been, you know, working really hard trying to establish relationships at, you know, every level from grassroots up across the different federations as far as our Pacific cousins are concerned, and within New Zealand and Australia as well, just to make sure that people are aware of, you know, we're not here just to kind of be the professional vehicle. You know, we do want to be able to provide a vehicle that fits everyone on the bus, or the waka or the boat, whatever mode of transport is in your head. We want everybody to be part of that, and it is, you know, building up the skill sets, building capabilities and growing the capacity of our people to know that, hey, you know, you can be a sports, be in sports media, sports journalism. You can be a massage therapist. You can be a head coach, like Justin was saying. But we got to start at the grassroots and build our community up and show them that we are in the community. We're not just there out talking about it and being a front of it as far as Tavake Pasifika is, but there is a broader vision here to be able to develop from the ground up and from the top down, so that we are resourcing ourselves to stay sustainable. Otherwise, yeah, we may not be here too much longer, right? So building that family out, that and that division, you know, how do we help and support our family through basketball, and where they want to go, and how can we help them achieve their aspiration? That's really at the core of our vision.
Let's not forget at the elite end, damn, there's some good players running around. I mean, that's the exciting part. I mean, we're talking on a day when you know, under 17 women, Samoa have just beaten New Zealand. You know, you talked about Stephen Adams before, and just some of the absolute superstars. I see them week in, week out during the seasons here in the NBL and Toihi. You know, as much as we talk about the fabric of building foundations, let's not miss the point here that at the top end of it all, gee, there's some great players running around.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful mission and vision at the heart of everything, and then topped off with some amazing people. You know, you really can't ask for much more than that. And speaking of some of those amazing people, we're about to see a couple of them in the next few weeks at the Shik 3 Cup. So both the men's and women's teams will be competing, which is really exciting. Last year's event was phenomenal. Expecting the same from this year, and there is going to be, and Justin, I think you might have the exact number of how many basketball games will be played across a couple of days. It'll be a lot. But it's just going to be a great time, and again with great people, and you know, a great, you know, just furthering the mission of what Tavake is all about. From each of you, what are you most excited about from that tournament?
I'll let you go first, Sierra.
Because she's busy.
So I'm just excited to be there again. You know, I'm excited for our players to get in there and show, you know, show how we've evolved over the last from last year to this year. So yeah, what am I? Good competition, strong competition, and yeah, just a lot of. I'm excited for the players to get down there and show what they have.
We've got 192 games. We've got a commentary team of 6. We've got 65 hours of live television. I'm probably most looking forward to the sleep-in on the Monday that comes after it all, to be honest. It is a lot of basketball, but I think the thing that I enjoy seeing the most at the 3x3 Cup, and when this first came about, obviously I was with the league when it first came about. I was running the league, and for me, this was the centerpiece of the 3x3 Cup. And thankfully, it's still the centerpiece. I'm glad that the league and the people that manage the league now are still doing the same thing. The single biggest thrill I get out of the 3x3 Cup is that I can sit there and see a men's game, followed by a women's game, followed by a men's game, followed by a women's game, I can equally see both the men and women sharing the spotlight. I can equally see the same amount of television coverage, the same level of commentary, the same fandom and enjoyment on the sidelines. And I really get a kick out of seeing the men standing sideline and watching the women's games, and the women standing sideline and watching the men's games. It might sound like a really, simple thing, but when you're trying to build a sport with everybody collectively together, I can't tell you how important it's been to get that one thing in place and to get it right. This is an event where everyone in the game, no matter the background, again, no matter where you come from in the country or outside of the country, and no matter whether you're playing men's basketball or women's basketball, this is something that they actually share together. And it's their chance to be on the same stage together at the same time. And that's probably the single biggest thing that I look forward to.
Yeah, it's really, I think, again, kind of to that family fact and everyone supporting each other and the communities, in what you described just now, Justin. I think that encompasses encompasses it so well, that everyone's watching each other on the sidelines, and, there's just a different energy and real supportive environment with great talent. So it's going to be a great couple of days in the coming weeks.
4 days, in fact, and 4 nights.
Well, some of the greatest and probably busiest and craziest 4 days and 4 nights of the year, but definitely going to be awesome.
Yeah, and we get to see 24 teams from up and down the country, and we also get to see Australia play New Zealand this year with the international games for the men and the women. So it's got that feel about it too. We'll see some young players, we'll see some experienced players, and again we'll see some emerging talent. 3x3's a really big game and a growing game on the world stage, with opportunities, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, World Cups, FIBA events right around the world, and in particular through Asia, which is on our doorstep. I think you're going to continue to see growing opportunities come out of this form of the game. For a long time, we've thought that basketball is all about 5-on-5. If I was to change one thing in junior basketball here in New Zealand, I would make 3x3 the only form of the game for those under the age of 10 to play. That's one thing that I would change in basketball, because on a 3x3 court, as Sierra will attest to, you can't hide. You have to be in the play. You have to have the ball in your hands. You have to play defense. You have to dribble. You have to pass. You have to shoot. You actually can't go missing in a game of 3x3. And I think for young children learning the game, wanting to be a part of it and enjoy it. Of course, when you are a youngster experiencing sport for the first time, you want to be a part of it. You don't want to be on the sidelines. And I think 3x3 does that. So I'd love to see everyone under the age of 10 only playing 3x3. I think that we would see more players come in and play the game. And there's already a lot of players out there playing basketball, but I think we would see them stick with the game, and importantly, I think we'd see their skills develop a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's a great point that you make, and I think that's one of the things that I'm always interested in too. Like, how can we help teach our kids to learn to love the game first before they learn the game? Like, just get out there and build a love for the game. Have no pressure on your shoulders to be the next Stephen Adams, or the next footy player that you idolize. Learn to love the game first, because it's that love that will carry you through the highs and lows. If you do go down the elite pathway eventually, your love will trump, all those suicides or bronco tests or whatnot that you got to do, that coach puts you through, or the SMCs put you through. So I love that point, Justin. Get them in, get them moving, get them playing, because you definitely can't hide playing 3-on-3 format. But they'll definitely learn to love the game. If that we can accomplish that, then that'll be a beauty.
Yeah, it's 3x3 is a great tool. I agree, and I haven't thought about it in that way, Justin, but it sounds like a very, a promising thing to, kids under the age of 10, get them going with 3x3. Because like you said, and every player I've ever spoken to, men or women, said, you can't hide.
No.
And we've seen a lot of players from around the country get more exposure because New Zealand is entering in various 3x3 events. And let's not, forget folks like Ty Wynyard. There's opportunities in basketball, down the line that 3x3 can provide. So
let's not forget New Zealand has won global medals over the last 10 years in 3x3 as well. Absolutely. World championships.
Yeah, there's been a lot of dominance there, and it's a great style of play, and just opens up the pathway even more. And think, kind of to your point, Sierra, teach the kids to love the game early, and that's when you've succeeded. Well, thank you both for your time, for jumping on, and looking forward to seeing you all in a few weeks and seeing the franchise continue to flourish and progress.
I appreciate it, Lyndon, and like I said, I've been around Tavake Pasifika for a few years now, and seen everybody and the organisation emerge. It's really exciting. Fantastic people behind the scenes, pushing hard, which I like, and wanting to be bigger and better. And I look forward to seeing Tavake Pasifika down in Invercargill for year number 2. And certainly what the future holds. And I love the goals, I love the aspirations, and definitely it's a community that's pushing in the right direction for big things in the future. So best of luck to Sierra and everybody at Tavake Pasifika.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Appreciate those words of encouragement as we keep realizing our dream and advocating for our people. That's really what this is about. And thank Lyndon for making space for us to have this conversation. It's been awesome.
Yeah.